for the yeah. Hello and welcome to the online leadership session for the regional barista champs. Some of this will be very familiar and to those that participated last year in the regional, but some this might be completely new. So it is really about breaking things down. But before we start, we're gonna just go through, and I'm going to pass over to Emma for this one, so you don't have to hear my voice the whole time. 10 great reasons to be involved in 2025.
Oh, kia ora, e te whānau. Thanks, Emma. You're definitely the voice of reason. And here's 10 great reasons to be involved in 2025. So we've got skill growth, what you'll learn and those skills that you take from that technical score sheet, especially into your work every day is just amazing, but it's done under pressure. So it's all about those challenges. The networking, oh my God, it's so amazing to meet so many of you young people and you slightly long timing people. And just, we've got people from Australia and from all around the world. It's amazing. Which also leads into a career boost. I'm sure, Josh, you could talk about that as well. Reputation, that mana that comes with just competing, putting yourself out there is next level. It gives you a great creative outlet as well. So we can learn all about your coffee and why you love doing what you do. And just go next slide. And there's even more good reasons. So this is all in the info pack as well. And we heard a lot when people did the coffee and careers from our chat with the champs. Was it last week or the week before? About all these things as well. So feedback, there's only ever going to be one winner, but we're all winning by doing this. The confidence, that's certainly something that I've learned. I'll try not to say too many times right now, but because this is putting myself out there as well. Thanks for that, Emma. But I love that you always challenge us to be our best. It's great visibility. Our social media last month, just ours alone, had 80,000 hits. And it's what we need right now. We need people in the cafes buying the coffee, coming to see you. I remember when somebody said to me, "You're the first person I talk to every morning," which made me feel really special and maybe know why I wanted to be in this industry. The prizes are pretty sweet, my God. They're pretty amazing. And thanks to our sponsors for that, because it's just incredible. Passion. Yeah, this industry is just incredible. More than ever, we need that coffee connection, the collaboration in our community. Yeah, it's all about the passions. Entering a championship can be a pivotal experience, offering personal and professional growth. And we've definitely seen that now. And oh my God, we can't wait to see where you'll all go next. Sorry, I keep saying Tu whititia te hopo, mai rangitia te angatu, which means feel the fear and do it anyway. So thanks, team. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you, Emma. Nobody could say it better than you.
Oh.
Yeah, I think, and we'll probably loop back to this. This is all about the barista. This is the front face. And yeah, some people go, competitions. But what happens in this competition in particular, especially the regionals, is the baristas showcase their skills by serving 4 espressos and 4 milk-based beverages, all while delivering great customer service in 11 minutes to a judging panel. There are 3 regional titles available with prizes. To be confirmed, most of those prizes are out there. It's a pretty sweet first prize for the regionals, but we do need 10 competitors in each region as a minimum to make these events happen. We're currently at 9, possibly 10 for Auckland and 6 and 6 for the other 2 regions. But we do have some plan B, C, and D plans there, so don't worry. And we'll provide everything you need: a machine, a grinder, milk, with options of plant-based and dairy, cups, spoons, and even the jugs and tampers if requested. You bring the coffee and the presentation. And don't worry about all the table decorations. The regional is really all about the coffee. So following the performance, your performance, all competitors will have an opportunity to listen to the judges' deliberation live and receive a full debrief to them, to you after the main event. You don't have to go on to compete in the main Barista Championship later in the year, but we'd love to see you there. We see this as a stepping stone, as a taste, as a step out of your comfort zone. Like Emma says, I don't think it ever gets any easier, says me quavering. It is about feeling the fear and doing it all the same. And it's amazing what you can learn doing it under pressure with judges. You do it every day, baristas. This is what you do. You'll have 5 minutes to dial in and 11 minutes to present. And the 3 regional titles will get automatic entry to that main event. And places 2 to 4 will receive a reserve spot to compete in the national event if they wish. So about the rules, and tonight is about the rules, but it's also about clarification of like what's provided and an opportunity for you to ask questions too. All of the rules are based on the World Barista Championship and are designed to allow the barista to work towards the next step, the national event. All rules are based on best practices and created to enable baristas to practice in a day-to-day in their normal environment while simultaneously preparing for the stage and making great coffee. This event isn't about taking it like we really don't want you to be spending hours and hours and hours and hundreds of dollars on coffee outside of your own time. We want you to be thinking about this on a daily, so it's fairly easy to compete. So judges are there to assess and reward the baristas, basing their observations on clearly defined rules, scoring and giving feedback to the barista's presentation. The judges' positions are head judges, sensory, technical, and shadow. To judge, you need industry experience, attend the workshop, and pass calibration before each event. The best part about judging is the community and coffee. So, oh yeah. Let's get into it. Did you all enjoy that quick test? I'm just going to ask you in the chat briefly. Did you all enjoy that multi-guess test? How many actually did it? Anyone? No one?
We had 20, how many people did it all together? 30 people did the test.
Oh, nice. If you don't do it, it's no biggie, but it's kind of fun. It's not, I'm not asking you to, if you haven't looked at it, it's not a big questions. It's just multi-guess and it will give you the answers anyway. And it was very interesting for us to see what you knew about the rules or what you assumed about the rules as well. So that's me slightly hiding behind a whiskey sour. And I want to also introduce you to our regional judge lead, who will be David Huang. He'll be a head judge and he is also a World Coffee Championship representative like myself. And yeah, he'll be leading all of the judges up at the regional events. And I'm sure many of you know Dave, and Dave will talk at some point. Do you want to just say, hey, Dave? Oh, he's got his little celebration on. He's off to Australia tomorrow, I think, to oversee a latte art, the Australian Latte Art Championship. He's giggling about that. I'm off to America on Monday for their World Championship, Barista Championship. Anyway, so all of this is based on World Coffee Championships core values. That's why I bring that up. And it is about sport, respect, coffee excellence, professionalism, and honesty. A lot of people, some of the feedback that we've been getting lately is that this is a little bit overly detailed, too many rules, but it is based, even the regionals are a feeder event to our nationals, so they kind of must sit within a certain set of rules. And it is just about, you could argue that rules make things trickier, but they don't. It's about transparency. Like as a barista, you want to know how you're being judged. And as a judge, you should have a set of rules that you're judging that barista to, not your own personal bias as such. So World Coffee Championships recognise professional excellence and work towards accessibility for all. And they also highlight the team effort it takes to create and serve specialty coffee. And we know that as humans that are in specialty coffee, and especially within a championship, it takes more than judges, baristas, as volunteers. There's so many people that come together to make this championship happen. And it leads towards this or not. And World Barista Championship, WBC, and that's the big boy. It focuses on promoting excellence in coffee, advancing the barista profession, and engaging a worldwide audience with an annual championship that serves as a culmination of regional events around the world. And that one is when we add in the signature drink and the 15-minute presentation set to music. So overview of this workshop, we kind of touched on this, is just really to clarify key rules in the New Zealand regional events, clarify scoring scales, and briefly explain the mindset and reason for them being. And it's about transparency to all, aligning those WBC rules and regulation documents to the score sheets and the NZ regional variations, and clarify supplied mandatory equipment to use. So key points, there's a lot of points to remember, sorry, and then I come up with a key point to remember. The championship at its core remains similar to the national or international level. Regional format is in place for the evolution of the championship and also to reach out to more people. We had a call to bring it back to the regions as opposed to one singular big event. And it should more accurately reflect the ever-changing world of coffee. Regional is about a taste of competing. It's about what you do on a daily. Make and serve delicious coffee to your customers. And again, an emphasis has been made within the scoring over the recent years to reward the barista and what they are bringing to the stage beyond the coffee itself and the equipment and tools. It's not all about the fancy stuff. So let's start with scoring. So again, some of you may be new to this Barista Championship, and some of you may have experienced it before. Hopefully, this workshop will assist in clarity for both parties equally. And apologies, I'm no skilled designer, and I know my voice is a little bit hard to follow at times, and I do get tongue-tied. If you have a burning question, do pop it down in the chat. I'm not seeing the chat live at the moment, but do pop it down in the chat, and hopefully Emma and or Dave will alert me to that. Okay. So now we get into it. The score sheets. Again, some of you that have experienced championships in New Zealand and also at a world level know by now that most of the scoring is broken down into descriptive and also effective. Descriptive is accuracy of what's said and done, and effective is taste and experience. So this is particularly in sensory, more on technical a little bit later, It can be broken, everything can pretty much be broken down to descriptive and effective, and just plain yes, no, it happened or it didn't. Most important for you to know is this year, as judges and baristas, that our brains are not very good at doing a lot of things at once, even if we think we're good at multitasking. This not only comes into the score sheet and how it's broken down, but what you do as a barista as to how the judges are scoring. So I'll come back to that, but it's very important to think about that. Best practice recommends splitting the different kinds of sensory tests. This is just in general that you need or want to do in separate tasks, that you're not introducing extra bias in places. So focusing on one thing at a time. There's lots to learn and dig into on that if you're interested. So in your sensory scoring, the sensory score sheet is designed to make assessment or recording clear and easy as a primary feedback and scoring tool to the championship. The score sheet is a lot cleaner than those that we've seen in the past. Judges should now be able to better use the score sheet to record their experiences. Each scoring box can now be classified under accuracy, impression, and or experience. And of course, that one yes, no on the sensory score sheet. There's lots of those on the technical score sheet. So just a side-by-side of the regional New Zealand to full WBC, it pretty much is same, but without the barista, without the signature beverage evaluation. Okay. So evaluation scale 0 to 3, we have inaccuracy and also impression. And this is based on a kind of hedonic scale, and it's about updated understanding of coffee sensory tests as researched by the Specialty Coffee Association. And it certainly does adopt a simplified scale to ease judging of accuracy and impression categories. And it really does make sense when you start getting into it. We'll get there. So the sensory evaluation scales are yes, no. The 0 to 6. Unacceptable, acceptable, average, good, very good, excellent, extraordinary, and obviously, well, not obviously, 0.5s are after 1, but not after 0 in there. 0 to 3 on accuracy, none to evaluate, not very accurate, somewhat accurate, very accurate. Impression, none to evaluate, not very, somewhat, very, or yeah, nah. We've all got different ways to think about it, but it really is, those 0 to 3s really are become a gut impression once you've referenced the rules and been calibrated. So the scoring matrix kind of sitting over the top. For some people, this makes it easier, some people not, just how it's sitting. Sorry, just go back. Calibration as a group is critical to all championships. So the group will always start at the same baseline. A judge that sits on a fence is not ideal. We teach judges and people to use the entire scoring scale at all times. Your language generally dictates those scores. So this is a little bit of a long slide to read through, but kind of not. Descriptive assessment, accuracy of descriptors. Judges listen to descriptors and explanations given and compare with what they have been served. The judge scores how accurately given descriptions matches their experience. This is marked with a 0 to 3 score. This scoring approach more clearly indicates the difference between the accuracy judgment and the experience judgment. So 0, there's none to evaluate. The competitor did not supply any descriptions in an accuracy scale. It's a 0. Super simple. 1, not very accurate, acceptable kind of average. Not really. Maybe there's something in there. Somewhat accurate, good to very good. Oh, I tasted what they described, but I also tasted there's a few other things in there too. Somewhat accurate, very accurate, excellent, extraordinary. We are not looking to dial in on the type of apple. If there's an apple in there, doesn't have to be a Granny Smith's, but if there was apple, I don't know, some stupid taste description, watermelon and lime, and you tasted them all, it's very accurate. If you just clearly discerned other things, it might be somewhat accurate. So effective assessment. Oh, sorry. Back to that one. So this is basically not influenced by personal feelings or interpretations or prejudice. It's based on facts. It should be unbiased, and it's an objective opinion or evaluation, okay, in a descriptive assessment. So when we move to an effective assessment, which a lot of the score sheets are in Barista, we have an effective assessment. This is, say, it's the taste tactile experience score and the performance score, 0 to 6. For experience scores, judges evaluate the overall experience of the beverages, including the components, as well as the beverage preparation, extraction, etc. Although not explicitly a 9-point hedonic scale, the 0 to 6-point scale we use is fairly closely aligned. It hasn't got any super negatives in there. No, 0 is a negative. Well, it's not a minus though. For the impression scores, judges use a narrower scale of 0 to 3. This is applied similarly to the 0 to 3 descriptor score and accuracy, but a subjective measure of the judge's impression. So as a impression scale, none to evaluate, the competitor did not serve the beverage as defined in the rules and regulations. Not very visually appealing, not very attentive to details, somewhat visually appearing, somewhat attentive to details, very, for example, very visually appearing or very attentive to details. So is scoring subjective or objective? Even with calibration and training, much of all sensory scoring is effective, so therefore subjective and within the individual. Any personal bias must be recognized. I don't like chocolate. I particularly don't like dark chocolate, but I can still assess it. I take out my personal bias though. So it must be recognized when possible and dismissed when judging. Also, calibration, again, we are assessing on a base understanding of quality in the cup and in many areas, and also to the rules and regulations. So pertaining to a characteristic or an individual, a subjective evaluation. Clear as mud? Sorry, it always takes a while to get out there. So just those two, the accuracy and impression side by side. It's important to remember these point scales are to move us, especially the 0 to 3s, are to move us away from dialing in for perfection and straight discriminatively test yes, no. These are kind of buckets to use in order to ease the evaluation. If it's there, it's there. We don't want to sit and think and go over it. If a competitor says strawberry and chocolate and you get a white chocolate strawberry mousse, that's kind of very accurate. And we don't expect deliberation to be about splitting hairs by its very nature of simplification, we avoid that. We are there as judges to reward, not punish. And generally, your 0 to 6 scores are the big multipliers too. So again, that scoring matrix. And we'll just go into accuracy. But I just want to stop for a second to see if everybody's still with me and they're not falling asleep. It's kind of really weird when I'm just talking to myself. David, Emma, are we there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Yep. Anything in the questions? Any chat?
No, everyone's just everyone's awake. They're here.
Just checking. Just checking.
For them
All
all.
right. All right.
I'm loving watching the Nelson crew. Yeah,
Nice.
cute. Um
We have a question.
oh cool.
Oh, go on then.
Does mouthfeel count towards taste from Victor's?
Ah, wait. We'll get in there. Calma. We'll get to that. That's got its own slide. Okay. All right. Sorry. Accuracy. So, in its simplest form, accuracy scales are, is the barista walking their talk? Okay. So, accuracy is in these areas that you see on your screen. Accuracy of taste descriptors, accuracy of tactile descriptors, accuracy of taste descriptors, and accuracy of taste descriptors in the WVC. So it is, they're accurate or not. Not very accurate, somewhat accurate, very accurate. Just the things that we've covered off. Okay. And these accuracy in the barista, are they walking their talk, are weighted quite considerably, especially in accuracy of taste. Is a 4 and 4, and your tactile is separate, which we'll touch on in a moment because tactile is not taste. So again, pretty simple. It's a descriptive assessment. Listen to the descriptors and judge it on. Accuracy of taste descriptors. So judges will listen to the taste, flavor, and aftertaste. Note the key word is taste there, and explanations given by the competitor, and compare those with the beverage served. The overall taste profile of the beverage should be support specialty coffee. Any flavor and or aftertaste descriptors given by the competitor for their espresso will be taken into consideration under this score. This score is based on how accurately these descriptors match the flavor and aftertaste of the espresso. Taste descriptors must be given, or a score of 0 is received in this category. So then we go over to accuracy of tactile descriptors, and tactile is basically about the thickness and the texture and the mouthfeel of the beverage served. And the judges will score on how accurately these given descriptors matches the tactile sensation of espresso. If the experience matches the description, but the tactile experience is low, high marks cannot be given. If the descriptors are not provided, again, a competitor will receive 0 on a score. Some people find this slightly confusing, but basically, if that tactile is mouthfeel, there is no taste in there, or aftertaste, or pleasant, or unpleasant in the accuracy of the taste descriptors. And we'll touch a little bit more. I've got another slide on that, just saying. So, impression.
Sorry, Emma, just a quick question.
Mhm.
Only espresso needs a tactile description, right? How about milk drink?
No, there's no score in it,
Oh,
but it is
okay.
in accuracy. You can describe it however you want, but yeah, we'll get to there in the
Okay.
middle. We'll talk.
Yeah,
We'll
cool.
touch on it. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
promise. So impression, again, impression is visual appeal, attention to details, and coffee knowledge, use of equipment, and space. That's where you get your impression in your 0 to 3s. So the big one, the big experience one, 0 to 6s are here. Taste experience, tactile experience. These are ×3, and it's a 0 to 6 score. Okay, in your regionals, it's just these two here. Okay, so it's all about the detail. Back up those scores with comments to match your experience as a judge. All taste experience scores within this. These are scores that judges are encouraged to use the full range available based on their experiences within each scoring category. Okay. Total impression and presentation, also an experience. More on these two sections shortly. So again, just to recap, experience set sets a wider scale to reflect each scoring category. Again. So if we break it down into those, you know, color coded, effective, blah, blah, blah. This is how it sits. And this is when we're talking about trying to, if you need to think about the scoring in the score sheet in order to get the most out of it, some may do this already, okay? But for yes, no, you just mark yes or no. For accuracy descriptors, though, don't start with the scores. Use the note section and write what the barista tells you. That's what the judge is going to do when you're saying what your coffee is going to be. They're going to note that and then score against that. It shouldn't be too different than the way you may have used a score sheet if you've used one prior to this. But all scores must be still noted prior to leaving the stage and the start of deliberation. You can start with scores on experience, but suggest that these are tied closely to your experience notes. It is about the judges are there to record that moment in time, that experience with you with that coffee. Okay. And also back up that score. So again, the human mind and brain lack the architecture to perform one or two more tasks simultaneously. And when you are scoring or judging a barista, you're trying to think of an individual aspect at any one time, especially those higher numbers. You need to paste the information and paste your information to the judges so that they can actually score and assess. They have time to reflect and score and assess your coffee based on what you said. So, taste, flavor, and aftertaste. Flavor is a combined perception of basic taste, sweet, salt, sour, bitter, and umami, and aromatic qualities perceived retronasally. Okay. Aftertaste is the combined sensation of basic tastes and aromatic qualities that remain after the coffee has left the mouth. Your tactile mouthfeel, thickness, and texture is strictly the tactile sensation of the coffee in the mouth based solely on a coffee brew's thickness and texture, never flavor. Thickness refers to the perceived weight or viscosity of the brew, while texture refers to the perceived sensation of grittiness or smoothness. Does that answer your question about taste, tactile, aftertaste, mouthfeel?
Sorry, Emma, I just want to jump in there as well with the multitasking. There's been a couple of questions on the chat that
Yep.
we can probably share out. Um, they've been answered by David, but just in case they haven't seen it, why can't we give 0.5 for a score?
0.5 it has never been allowed in the rules. It's either a 0 or a 1.
Yep.
And then a 1.5 on.
Yeah. And then another question, how much time do the judges have with each drink after presented?
There is no, how much time do the judges have with each drink once presented? Well, it's how you pace the information. If you're serving an espresso and then a milk beverage, it's your timing is going to justify your timing and your pace is going to dictate that, if that makes sense. There is no set time as such. Espresso, slightly more scoring categories than a milk-based beverage. It's assess, taste, get comments down, scores on the doors. The judges should be expected to leave the stage probably within 2 to 3 minutes of, it's not 2 minutes after your competition is finished. I would say in the regional kind of level. Does that answer?
Yeah, so Pat said I've had baristas serve a drink and then call time.
Yes.
I know
Many
your thoughts on this.
many do that in the worlds at the moment, which is kind of annoying. They even give you instructions on how to do it, and then you're not allowed to drink it until I call time. It's best judgment on any given amount of time on stage. So yeah. And that might affect your overall impression of the barista. There's many areas that it might sit in. So there's no right or wrong there, as long as the drink is served in time.
Yeah, and folks, you've got 11 minutes to serve 8 drinks, so
It's not
like if you're serving customers, come on. Wayne says, I think it's really about time between sets. Give the judges enough time to really taste and take all the notes down accurately. Ka pai, Wayne. Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And yeah, it's super interesting when and I'm not encouraging you to do this for nationals, but if you ever watch any of the barista presentations from the world event, they don't get it always right. Even the big guys, it's like they give all this information, they give the drink, and it's like you've got to give time for that person to taste and assess and score before grabbing their attention with more information to the next drink. Pacing. So, milk beverage. It's quite simple, really. The first question judges and many competitors are saying is, how do you calibrate scoring when it's not just milk? It's all of the plant-based milks are in the mix, and we've got all of the milk lab in there. Well, it should be fairly easy. You assess the visual appeal in a 0 to 3 impression scoring range. It's just a quick snap. You assess, you listen and note the taste descriptors and note on the accuracy in the 0 to 3 scale. And then it's about the taste experience. Is it tasty and delicious? Easy. So your milk beverage is a combination of a single shot of espresso, as per the definition of espresso, steamed milk, which should produce a harmonious balance of sweet milk and espresso. All milks may be used. This is WBC, and also the big boy at the end. Animal milks are not restricted to cow milks, but all milks must be commercially available and unflavored. No human milk will be accepted. That was my ruling, because somebody was bound to do it. Or a competitor will receive a 0 in the category. and no additions may be made to the milk, though all commercially available milks may be accepted. And with that, we'll talk about it a little bit later. You may remove elements from the milks, but you may not add elements into the milks. Like you can freeze distill or freeze the milk basically and take out some of the water. So taste experience in the milk beverage.
6:25 p.m.
Sorry, Siri's telling me what time it is. So is it tasty and delicious? Is it balanced with the coffee? Can you taste the coffee? Does the milk support and elevate the beverage in its addition? Does this sound familiar? Is it tasty and delicious? The biggest impact that opening up the milk beverages is that fear of how you evaluate the milk beverage. It helps to think of it kind of like a signature drink. Is it tasty and delicious? Again, it's not changing a lot. The key points are temperature, immediately consumable, harmonious balance of milk, espresso, taste profile, flavor, and aftertaste should support specialty coffee with a balance created by the addition of milk. Easy. So again, use of plant-based milks and milk beverages. This represents an effort to evolve the competition and better reflects the specialty coffee community at large. It's been a couple of years now, and the various expressions of milk beverages that are available on the market. Easy. So now we're getting to what is provided on site for you all. So milks, still not, we have in this competition, the regional competition, these are the milks that are provided on site, and they are kind of mandatory to use these milks. So we'll have Meadow Fresh Farmhouse and Original, and we'll have all of the milk labs. We will be sending out a form to ask for questions of what you'd like. This is just to allow us to plan, so we have what you want on site on the day. So again, no additions. You're not allowed to add anything to this. Combining milks is undefined, so therefore it should be assumed that it would be allowed, and it's only on site with the provided milks. So use of milks, no additions, no commercially available plant-based milks, all commercially, that is at the WBC, and all, this is not at the regionals, this is at the next level.
Can I jump in there? David's got his hand raised about some questions and on the milk as well.
Yeah.
I just saw this questions in the chat rooms asking about whether they can mix plant-based with normal milk, whether they can freeze distill. So
Yeah, I got a bit ahead of the game there. I was talking about that, and the regional, I guess you can't freeze distill because it's only available on site as such. So in the nationals or the main event, yes, but here it's about you can combine milks, but you can't necessarily freeze distill that because that would be preparation prior to being on site and provision on site.
so
Sorry.
so we are saying no freeze distill, no tempering with milk whatsoever. Is that correct?
No freeze distilled. No, you can combine milks. That's
Yep.
fine. But yeah, pretty much no messing, no taking any elements away from the milk on site.
Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
sorry.
I think that's clear. Yeah. Thank
Clear
you.
as mud. Yeah.
Sorry, just another question. What about using Meadow Fresh light milk? I think we covered in the slide which Meadow Fresh milks are available, and that's Farmhouse or Original.
Yeah, Farmhouse or Original are the two milks that we will be having on site.
Helen
So
saying we need a clarification on the rules.
clarification on
No,
what?
David, that's already been clarified. It's been
Oh, yeah?
clarified since after I posted that. So
Oh,
it's all
cool.
good.
Yeah, sweet.
I love that I can't see the chat window. But do keep telling me about it. So barista evaluation. Some big changes in this section. Attention to detail kind of remains the same on the scoring scale that it ever has been. And presentation professionalism has been split into presentation and this is the place to reward the performance and presentation by the barista. This previously hasn't been captured over the years in older score sheets. Professionalism has changed to coffee knowledge and proper use of equipment in order to clarify what is being evaluated in each category. The separation can only support a better understanding the individual categories and the barista craft. That was a bit of a mouthful, sorry. So breaking it out a little bit more, presentation, the 0 to 6 category with a 3 times multiplier, so a possible 18 points per sensory judge, is a big step in attempting to award the presentations that the baristas are bringing to the stage. Okay. And it's based on presentation skills, concept, originality in the concept, methods, techniques. It's a little bit harder to distill down in the regional, but it's still there because it's still points such as natural, clear, and concise communication, ability to manage workflow and time, good customer service, politeness, accuracy, attentiveness, eye contact. But not necessarily a concept of ideas. Coffee knowledge and proper use of equipment. Some of this wording is from the old total impression that was of old, and it includes evaluating the observed qualities relevant to the barista profession, technique, preparation, and demonstrating a wider understanding of coffee beyond the drinks served. Wider coffee knowledge includes process, coffee cultivation. Basically, what is the coffee? And a little bit of that seed to cup knowledge within there. And a strong correlation between what is explained and what is delivered. So the baristas walk in their talk. A competitor must demonstrate that they're a coffee professional who has command over their presentation and coffee to score highly here. So the final is the total impression. Total impression score has also changed in weighting, and it's not as heavily weighted as it used to be. It's decreased by 50%. And it has no longer a reference to the scores given within the other courses. So there is guiding questions on this, and you can read through these guiding questions. Did the performance inspire you? Was it immersive? Was there a performance? And again, this is a little bit harder to kind of evaluate on when we're only just talking about 2 courses and we haven't got that signature beverages in there. But it's like, how positive was the experience? What was the total? Were you touched? So looking at those score sheets again side by side, on technical skills, there's a lot of yes, no's, and pretty basic, the technical. You should be technically correct in your day-to-day.
I'm jumping in there because there's a technical question.
Go for it.
Ryan, it says that the volume of the espresso should aim to be from 25 to 35 ml. So I was just wondering if there was any penalties outside of these extraction ranges.
That 25 to 30 mil is very, how do I put this? There's quite a wide range in there. We are looking for a shot of espresso, And we are not looking for something that is so short that it would be a ristretto. And that would be kind of, you'd be able to taste that in tactile and also taste as such. So the modern age of espresso doesn't really sit within that range. Dave, help me here, because this is a good one, because
I think we'll be completely honest here is that it is one part of the rules and regulation that we might have overlooked over the years and probably should have done something about it. But espresso, in terms of its definition, have evolved so much so fast over the past 10-15 years. I think we just kind of forgotten to change it because we don't know what to change it to. So as long as it is with reasonable range and it tastes great, and we kind of just generally just give the benefit of doubt to the baristas and then let you guys roll with whatever, however shot you think is suitable for that coffee.
Yeah. Generally, we don't see like ristrettos like 10 mils, 15 mils, but we see a
Yeah.
lot of 20 mil shots, but sometimes we see longer shots too. So yeah.
Yeah, we've seen anything between sort of, I would say, just touching 20 mil or 20 gram or 20 mils to
Yeah.
to 50, 55 mils. And that's what we've seen between us, you know, at a greater sort of worldwide level. Maybe there are countries pushing beyond that, and that's part of the ethos of the WBC is we want the baristas to lead the way and push the boundaries, provided that it's still making tasting coffee, because the world of coffee is wonderful and there's so many varieties that we haven't explored. There's so many different methods of espresso preparation that we haven't tried, given the wide range of coffee that's coming into the market. So, you know, the world is your oyster.
And I was just trying to tie that back into white milk cups. Someone's asked, are we allowed to use the 110 for the milk beverage?
Yeah, 110.
110 mil, which is the size of the mini taster. And Wayne has said yes.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay.
We might be covering that soon, Em, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, but we can talk details later in Emma's presentation.
I'm just pulling up my rules and regulations.
So I had it on my first screen.
Talk amongst yourselves there, espresso. Oh,
Great technical questions.
Think we are good? We can continue?
you can continue. Yeah, I think at this stage, with the milk beverages, there is no size restrictions whatsoever to the size of the beverage, as long as it is within combination of a single shot of espresso and steamed milk. And it's all about harmonious balance. So, yeah, the rules dictate that there is no volume. Scheiße. Does that answer you? Yeah, I think so. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I think so. But like, don't serve them a liter.
No. There's balance. You still need to taste it, I think,
Oh.
harmonious. So we're still touching a little bit on technical here. So yeah, all that stuff. Yes, no's. Pretty easy. Yes, no. If you do these things twice, yeah, you do need to read it still. But they're just easy single points. And your 0 to 6 scoring, clean working area, startup, acceptable spill waste when dosing tamping, consistent dosing and tamping, and station management and clean working area at the end. This is your workflow day to day. This should be all fairly easy to get these points. So your tech judges is a scoring sensory judges, you only have 2, and a total of 124 per sensory judge, which is a lot, and 248. And tech judge is important, it's 54 points there, but it is the lesser of the scores. But generally, when you are technically correct, it comes through in the taste in the cup. And your total possible maximum regional score is 302. So equipment provided at the regionals, if needed. We can provide tamper and jugs via one of our host venues, C4 Coffee down in Christchurch. Again, we'll be asking for clarification prior from our baristas, and C4 has offered a discount code, and that will be included to any competitor if they wish to purchase their own, or you may want to just bring your own. So equipment provided at regionals, not many people got this question correct because it only was decided yesterday. So the grinder that will be used at the regionals is the Hey Cafe Buddy. And it's the only one to be used on site. Pretty much when you're competing, your practice time will be immediately prior to what worked well last year. Was the practice time was immediately prior to you moving to stage, so you could walk to stage with your grinder that you'd practiced on. So that helped a lot, because we only have so many grinders, and it just helped with the flow of the competition, and that you are more comfortable than trying to dial in a grinder that you haven't used, but you practiced on one of them.
Just if we go back to the grinder,
Mm-hmm.
so just want to say an awesome thank you to AMC, who are sponsoring this grinder. And Nelson has asked, will we have a demo day for this grinder before the competition day?
Demo day?
I think, or a demonstration. I think that's the beauty of this little buddy.
Oh, this buddy's too easy. And there is a few of them in Auckland. But yeah, in the competitor briefing, we'll have an overview. It is super easy, accessible to change, to dial in. It's just too easy to use. Okay. A timer, doser, grinder. But yeah, we'll have an overview on the day in the morning for all competitors. Does that answer?
Yeah, thank you. And then someone, are we given sanitizer sprays and cloths? Well, our amazing volunteers always clean as well, but we'll probably have a few extra cloths.
Yeah, but that will be on the supply list, which I'll get into, and then we'll open it up for more questions if needed, because we're racing through this. So 2 single group equipment provided at regionals, 2 single group Lamazocco minis will be on stage. You will only use one of these in practice time, not 2. And they will come with standard 17 milligram baskets. And basically they've got a fixed technical configuration, and that temperature will be set, and shot timers will be visible and available on the units. They will have a slightly different portafilter handle, possibly than normal, so that they work with, but still normal, so that they work with the buddies. So equipment provided at the regional, only Acme ceramics. You may bring your own if you wish. It doesn't matter
Mm.
which range, but they do have to be Acme, but they will also be provided on site. And we will be providing Tasters Mini this year, the classic range Demi-Tasse, and the classic range flat white only, alongside Acme teaspoons if you need them. This will also be clarified in that sheet that I need to ask, because again, we need to ensure that we have the correct range. I see Hunter has his hand up. Nice use of the hand up.
Yeah, this is just a question actually relevant to the grinders that I've just thought of. Last time at the last regionals, something I encountered that I wasn't really expecting is a dosing cup didn't really work that well with the grinder we had last time, and that kind of threw me off a little bit alongside some other things. But would you expect that to be another issue this time around? There just wasn't really enough clearance last time to be able to comfortably get a dosing cup in there.
And perhaps David will be able to answer this question, because I know that he's experienced. Buddy?
Most of the dosing cup that's available on the market that we've seen, those small ones, not the big ones for filters. The espresso dosing cups with the Hey Cafes, they can easily be adjusted on site, because they only have the two knobs. Without any tools, you can actually adjust them. So it's quite straightforward, provided that your dosing cup is not something that's weird and big and very wide or very tall. Most of the espresso dosing cup seems to fit. Does that answer the question?
Yes, yeah, it's just a standard 58 ml one, so that should work hopefully.
It's not the width, it's the depth.
Yeah. I believe there are some cafes in Hunter, you're in Wellington, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not certain which cafe, but I think there are a couple around, which you might have to check with Emma where they're at after this, or privately. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I've got no idea. They're at Wellington. So sorry, Hunter. Yeah. They're a very accessible grinder. Anyway, so Acme ceramics, does that make sense? You can bring your own if you want, but this is all about breaking down the barriers, making it easy for you guys. So they will be provided on site, but we will need clarification what you need prior, and you might have to bring your own ceramic. Might be an idea to bring some ceramics of your own to practice pulling shots on prior. Okay.
So just a question there. Nick's asking, did I read somewhere that Roman cups were provided also? Maybe
No,
last year?
that was last year, and I might have not edited my form fast enough. And yeah, there might be a miss in the rules, but yeah, Roman are not one that's going to be provided this year. Just to simplify the setup.
Yeah.
You can bring your own Romans, but yeah, we won't be providing Romans, because we'll be looking to have these cups logoed in some way so they don't get mixed up with other people's ceramics as well.
Yes, and the wise and wonderful Kim Boyd has said it's good to have some spare cups, like Emma said, for practice, and it's important to turn over and clean your items properly for the next person.
Yes, be respectful to everybody else. And again, equipment provided, it's not really equipment, it's products from our lovely sponsors, Meadow Fresh and Milk Lab. Farmhouse and Original will be the only provided fresh milks, and Milk Lab, oat, coconut, soy, and macadamia and almond. No additions allowed, but combining would be fine on on-site milks. If you are seen to be bringing another milk in, I'm sorry, it is grounds for disqualification. So don't. So, stuff you need to bring: your coffee, yourself, and information around your coffee and your story, any additional equipment you need, distribution tools, up to one piece of electrical equipment, battery operated, does not count as electrical, jugs, tampers, your own Acme ceramics. Again, let us know if you need any of this. Cloths and tea towels, we are not there to provide all your cloths, but we will have cloths on site for helping. Hey, Eve, I think you've got your microphone on. Sorry. Professional attire, a winning routine attitude, snacks, and a water bottle. And just please note also in that electrically supplied equipment, milk steaming devices are not allowed under the current rules and regulations. So stuff you do not have to bring: a grinder, because you won't be allowed to use it; any milk, dairy or blank paste, because you won't be able to use it. Don't bring tablecloths or excessive or additional table decorations or equipment. Each setup will be slightly different at the regional events. We have added in time to allow for that. You may have to move around to serve. We've added an additional minute to last year's timeline to allow for that. We won't have exact measurements of the bar. This is breaking it down. This is simple. This is espresso, and it's white coffee, and serve it to the judges. We will have water glasses and a water jugs for you to serve water to the judges as well, so you don't have to bring that stuff either. So a little bit of a reminder before we kind of open up for questions. A reminder, remember, from our info pack, there is only one champion, but competing can be winning. You can learn so much more. There is more to the event than the singular final boss outcome. You get out what you put in, and dedication to learning your craft and coffee will be rewarded in the rules. There are others in our community like you, willing to help you in your competition journey. Just ask. And remember, it is just coffee. So I'm going to throw this back over to Emma.
Tūwhiritia te hopo, mai rangitia te angatu. Feel the fear and do it anyway. What could
Go
you do?
large.
You knew you couldn't fail. It's amazing. You're all amazing. Got some great questions. Thanks, Emma.
Yeah, questions. Where's the questions?
Are we allowed to bring puck screens and WTD tools?
Puck screens. What's a puck screen?
One of the mesh things that sits on top of a espresso puck, and it just distributes water evenly.
Nothing is allowed in the portafilter or the group head. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll second that. Nothing between the shower screen and your coffees and in your coffees. Yeah.
No changing or altering any of the equipment.
So just on equipment, Jared from the wonderful C4, our host in Ototahi Christchurch, what are the current rules around bringing an additional grinder? Would that apply as an electrical item?
That would be a 0, and that would be only a single grinder is allowed and the one that's provided. So it's clearly stated in the rules. Uno grinder. Is that okay?
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Pat doesn't like Zoom.
Emma, I was just going to ask maybe what is an example of another electrical piece of equipment that somebody might bring then instead?
I mean,
I really don't know what there would be, but is,
Yeah, a set of scales.
They will bring ultrasonic vibration tools for their
Stop it.
espresso.
Dave, this is regional. Somebody might bring a puck press. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
only.
yeah, yeah. A puck press, I mean, a puck press.
Yes. Shut up about ultrasonic tool. Stop it. Don't get too pointy. But yeah, other pieces of electrical equipment. I don't know, somebody might bring a desk lamp, who knows, set the scene. But yeah, single piece of electrical equipment, but it must be tagged because it's about liability and insurance and safety of the venue.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne's talking about a blender for his plant milk. I guess if you're going to use all 5, that'd be great. And some disco balls. Right, so bringing it back,
Yeah.
do we have to wear an apron, Wayne? Asking for a friend. Well, I know you've got a good one. Are you going to share those?
Do you have to wear an apron? There is nothing in the rules and regulations that clearly states apron or the use of wearing an apron anymore. That is a little bit of an archaic ruling, but there is about possibly under the tail end about presentation and the way in which you present yourself, but you should never be punished for not wearing an apron.
I think we have removed all that already.
Yeah.
Like professional attire that the chat that's happening in the chat room about professional attire. I think we have removed that maybe up 3-4 years ago, even at the Worlds.
This is all based at the Worlds.
Yeah. So this is basically sort of tributing to cultural respect, cultural diversity. Just understanding that not all cultures are all tux and suits. What's considered professional and appropriate working behind the bar, it can be quite different from regions to regions as well. So the most important thing, I guess, we're looking for that sort of basic, sort of clean, tidy. It's not holes everywhere. Well, actually, holes is not actually some acceptable in some countries. so, essentially, it's what you consider as professional and clean
As
and
long
tidy
as it's hygienic.
and
I think.
hygienic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think hygiene would possibly sit within this,
Yes.
clean cloths and things like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
you wear an apron or not, it's up to you
Yeah.
and how you choose to present yourself.
Beer can hats, if it's for the right reason.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was asking about a 90s. But I mean, I think some of these baristas weren't even born in the 90s, so they might not know that.
Fishnet vest.
No. So let's take it back to being professional.
But
was a-
also have fun, We've seen on the world stage, we've seen all sorts of outfits. And back in the day, people used to have props. I once saw somebody flower. His wife was the prop and she was a flower and she bloomed. But yeah, you're not allowed props of different people. But on the world stage, we've seen people, Estelle Bright, she's a La Mazzocco lady these days. I think her whole routine was based on being a stewardess, a flight stewardess from like the 70s or something, wasn't it, Emma?
Yeah, she looks stunning.
She looked absolutely stunning, but it was all about how she presented herself, which was part of her routine and tied in with her coffee and everything. So it was pretty awesome. But yeah, it's in your hands how you want to present yourself.
Yeah, and then another great question from Wayne. Will the LM Tech be there to tag?
No.
And Kim has said, does everyone understand what tagged on electrical items means?
Probably not. Tagging is something that takes place on commercial equipment. and also when we have a commercial venue as such, we need to be in compliance that this electrical piece of equipment that we're plugging into this venue is safe to do so, that won't start a fire or anything. And you may think this is crazy, but it has happened and it's a legal requirement. So you need to get a electrical piece of equipment tested and tagged. Most technicians would be able to assist with that.
Sorry to jump in, Kim here. Just wanted to, I don't want anyone to get caught out and arrive on site without the items tagged and not be able to use them. But yeah, you need to ask a qualified electrician to do that for you. As Emma said, some
Or you
coffee
need to,
technicians will be able to do it if they're qualified to do so. But tagging means literally they will test it, check it, and then a tag will be attached to the power cord of the item.
Yeah.
It will cost you money and you do need to do it.
over the years, it really depends, and I cannot guarantee it. Dave from Lamazocca, when he's been on site, has tested and tagged, but we cannot guarantee that. And yeah, the requirement has always been that you must, if you choose to bring an electrical device, that must occur. And I'm also going to ask you that question: are you bringing an electrical device? Do you know? Make sure that it's in tag it.
Nelson's asking under rule 3.1 J, unflavored water. Does this mean I need to get RO distilled water?
No, we'll provide water. We'll provide Joe.
We have the water. And in
We
fact,
have
most
the
of our
water.
hosts, oh, sorry, Emma.
No,
Our hosts have pretty amazing water on site, don't they?
I'm going to stop sharing. No, not. I've lost you all. I hate Zoom too, Pat. Just saying. Any more questions? No? Fine. Let's smash this out. So,
Sorry.
just want to wrap up.
Sorry, one more
Yeah,
question.
go on.
How many scales are we allowed?
How
Overthinking
many scales do you need?
workshop.
As many as you
They also
freaking want.
provided.
There's none provided.
No.
As many as you feel you need. You're saying? So I do have a couple more slides. So thank you to everyone for taking part. It might seem a little bit pointy to go through this, but it's great that we actually get together as judges, as coaches, as baristas, to be able to ask those questions and to be able to break down those rules. If you have any further questions, please do email us, and please do respond to said emails, because we really need to get questions answered from you. And know that we are reaching you so that we can send timelines and stuff. So thank you to our sponsors. I haven't even got our principal sponsor up there. That's terrible. Meadow Fresh, Lamazocco, Acme Cupco, AMC Milk Lab, Beto, and Monin. And these are our original events. Christchurch kicking off first, right off the back of Mice, Melbourne, and then Wellington, and then Auckland. Again, just noting that we do need those 10 competitors per region to make the events happen. That entry does close on Friday, and we may extend that entry for a week after that. So, actual picture of M&M now. Any further questions before we finish in an hour and a half? Oh yeah.
It's a record. It's a lot of information. I think people need to realize Emma's done a lot of work on this, and the way that the questions are coming at us at the chat is sometimes her inbox. So it's pretty amazing how many spinning plates she can juggle. I'd like to think that a lot of those questions were answered in those last slides. So yeah, we need 10 competitors per event, or it might not go ahead. But there are plans.
Yeah, I mean, we have plans in place as to possible scenarios. If we don't have 10 competitors per region, we might combine regions. Yeah, we will communicate as soon as we've made a call. But yeah, we simply cannot put it on an event with only 6 baristas in a region. I think we ended up doing it last year with Wellington and with 7, was it, Emma?
Yeah.
And with the amount of the whole event, it's a traveling roadshow. There's lots of bits and pieces. There's lots of cogs in motion. It's just really not sustainably not worth it. And for anyone involved to have such a small pool of competitors, even on a world level, a competition isn't viable with is barely viable with 6 competitors. And yeah, so we want to make this happen. Share the word. It's not that scary. You don't have to seek. One last thing I want to end on is, if I have nothing else to say, I shall say this. We're not asking you to source the highest end coffee there is, just what you love, what's delicious, what's tasty. You know, it might not be your normal blend. It could be a single origin to highlight those flavors. It should be commercially kind of somewhat available. Sorry, somebody was talking. Oh yeah. David?
They are trying to rob me into competing for some reason in the chat room.
They're trying to make you compete.
Yeah, in the chat room. So I think it's
I think, I think there's, as he is the lead, there's a little bit of what's the word for that, Emma? Conflict of interest.
yeah, conflict of interest.
What did we make him? Our head lead judge?
He's our lead judge. He's our head judge. He's going to be leading the judges. So, officially he is out of competing as per the rules and regulations of said championship. So no.
Yeah, but now, yeah, exactly like what Emma's been talking about. This regional events are about celebrating local talents. It's about celebrating all those people that you know who are making great coffees and they have personalities that you think is worthy being on stage and sharing the passions that they have been sharing on daily basis. So just rock on and bring their games and do their thing on the stage, do their daily thing on stage. That's all we're asking for. It's not well, even national you can do that. It's not about just winning. We are not here because we are here to show that we are the best. We are participating, either competing or judging in the championship because we want to become better. This is an opportunity to learn and to share and to celebrate. It's gonna be a winner, sure, but if you're here and you're being part of this, and you decide to be part of this, you are a winner in life, and it's a pat on your shoulder. Good job.
And I just want to add, because maybe some of you haven't read the rules, and there was a couple of edits from last year that were fairly significant, adding a minute to the competition time just to allow for that spatial thing, but also regarding those people who compete in a regional, any previous barista champion may compete, but they may not rank or be what's the word? They may not receive any prizes, cash prizes or otherwise. They're not legible for them. Is that the correct word?
Yeah.
So that goes for previous champions and also the top 3, so second and third from previous championships. So it's not about regionals, really is about giving back to the regionals and regions and an opportunity to really take out that prize. The winner, $1,500 cash, $200 Prezi voucher from La Mazzocco, $100 restaurant voucher from Acme, more prizes to be announced. Second place, $750. Third place, $500. Regional People's Champion, $500. And there is more prizes to be announced as such. So I just wanted to add that bit in because I don't know whether many people knew that.
Yeah, lots of prizes. Where the idea is to again to celebrate whatever you're doing great. You don't have to be great at everything. I think you have something to show and you want to show and share with the crowds. Bring it along, and that's have a good time. Yeah.
So team Wayne's let everyone know that Hannah and YJ have offered their time. This is Baristas for Auckland and Bonnie in the South Island. Emma's put up the Conversations with Coffee, Chat with the Champs on our YouTube page as well. So that's got some really inspiring stuff.
And it's posted on our website as well.
Yeah, and then I just want to get back into some of these really pointy questions.
Yep.
Switching coffees between espresso and milk drink, is the dial-in time just a part of the 11 minutes?
You have 11 minutes competition time, so
yeah.
I don't know how to answer that other than like you've got one grinder.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably
could be fantastic, could go horribly wrong. But at least it's an easy grinder, it's a standard grinder, and it's not as possibly tricky as a Mythos to change. But you will only be provided with one hopper, so
yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you remember way back in London 2010 and Michael Phillips switched hoppers. It was still a scary moment.
I only remember his music and his smile and his dancing. He's fantastic. I love him.
If regionals are cancelled, can Joe Blogs just enter nationals and see how it goes, or are there limits to national numbers?
There is limits to national numbers, yeah. And always Joe Blogs can enter. This isn't an entry to the big event. This is a taste of competing. This is a practice. You might, like, we encourage, our old champions to compete in this as well. It's an engagement. It's a chance to practice. It's a chance to showcase. Yeah. There are reserve spots for the regional winners, and that also reduces the pool of open positions available in the nationals.
Is there a storytelling or general banter and element to the presentation? We want to see you on stage. Or is it all around taste and experience of the coffee?
That's your call. We're not here to dictate what you would like to create on stage. Generally, you do need to tell us what the coffees are going to taste like and a little bit about the coffee, as I've just explained about the rules. But your take on competing is your take, and bring you. Don't try and be a carbon copy of anybody else. Just bring yourself, and how do you interact with your customers? This is an elevated kind of customer experience. where you're serving a customer 2 coffees and telling them about them. Does that answer that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add again, thank you to both Emmas for preparing a fantastic workshop and presentation as always. You know, it takes a lot of work to do all this, and then it takes a lot of work planning for the workshop as well as everything else that come with it. So I'd just like to acknowledge that on behalf of everyone else. And at the same time, there's many judges that sitting in this room. That sounds really weird, but in this chat room, and many of these judges are very experienced in both judging and to the competitions. Even though we all understand that it is the competition and there is that conflict of interest, but you know, if you know your original judges and you want to hit them up and have a conversations or clarify some of the areas of rules and regulation, you're more than welcome to do so. Yes, people are busy, but you know, they are happy to chat to another fellow coffee professional. I'm sure that's just how it is. I will only speak for myself. If you approach me, I'm always here, and you know, I might be busy, but I'm always here. Yeah.
And also we're here for everyone. We're here equally, but any questions that kind of are asked outside of this forum, we like to share them out with everybody as well, just for transparency. So yeah, please do. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. What's that team up to? You're all laughing, Nelson. Now I see you.
I don't know. I like Pat's like leveling up on the Zoom with pictures.
I'm getting there slowly. I'm going through them.
Yeah, and you see our emails are on the screen. Like we do run the social page as well, but you know, we like to have a weekend as well. And if you email us, then we have a trail and can remember. And someone else might have asked the same question. Does that make sense? Like DM us memes of cats, but not all the time.
Pat.
Oh, cats, not Pat.
No, sorry. I just saw Pat's like photo now saying that giant and Hunter going the giant weaver, the big weaver one with the mortar and pestle, the stone. Yeah, we're it's going downhill quickly, isn't it? Yes. But yeah, we're all here for each other. If you can, yeah, share the word. We always appreciate getting the word out. What we do it for you guys. The whole association, pretty much, yes, it is. It is an association of companies related to coffee, but ultimately everything we do is about the front face. A lot of it is all about you guys. So we're there to support you, and we're there to elevate you as the people that serve the coffee to our great nation. Oh, I'm getting all touchy now. Okay. Back over to you and say something sensible.
To me or Dave?
Oh, you.
You.
Oh.
I think we're good. If
Yeah.
no more questions tonight, then I think it's a thing where if you guys are happy, I think that's a wrap.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
It is very much valued. So I know there's short on it. And for those up in Auckland, is there a poll? Who's going to take it out tomorrow? Nelson's in the mix, aren't you? You competing in the Slayer?
Gong and Moi are. All those three are.
Oh, Moy. Wayno is too. He can't help himself.
I know. Go Wayno. Not allowed favourites.
Wayno's gonna win because he paid off the judges.
Is that what happened in the other one too? Sorry, we can stop recording now.
Oh, hang on.
That's not